Greetings, friends, acquaintances, and anyone else who just happens to be listening. Welcome to another edition of the UKOCR podcast with me, Alan, and just me this week, because I'm going to tell you about a race I've done. Okay, so if you listen to this, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, if you're just listening to it on your long run or anything else, but you're going to get more out of it if you go over to our YouTube channel, because I'm going to be putting on some of the things that we did. So I'm going to be reading them out to you here, and I'll be reading them out on the YouTube channel, but I'll be putting pictures of them up. So you might get more out of it if you go to YouTube channel. But if you don't want to, you want to listen to it, just keep on listening to it. I'm going to tell you about an amazing event that I did this last weekend. It was a secret event. It was called the Secret Race, run by a company called Rasselbock. Okay, based out of Nottinghamshire, Sherwood Pines area. They do a lot of things out there. They do backyard ultras. They do something called the Big Loop, and things like that. And this was one of their test events. And I want to turn around and say it's a bit like an escape room while running. It's probably the best way of doing it. So it started for me about 6 months ago when I saw it, and it said secret event. We're not going to tell you where you start. We're not going to tell you where you finish, and you're going to have to make your own route there, but do some checkpoints on the way and complete some challenges. So I thought, I'm in for this 100%. This is me. So I roped in Jamie and Rob, my two running buddies, and we decided to sign up for it. So we signed up for it. I think it was around about £80 each. So 240 for all of us. For an ultra, that's pretty cool. We knew there weren't going to be checkpoints because it told us that it was going to be self-supported. But we was happy with that. We were absolutely perfect with that. That's cool. We'll carry all the stuff. We knew it was going to be about 120 kilometers. It said a minimum of 120. So we thought, yeah, we can do this. We're absolutely fine. Absolutely. So it's been coming around. And about a month ago, it started. As in, we started getting emails. So we've got a kit list. So the kit list was we had some mandatory things to start with. So we had to take some tin foil. We had to take some frazzles. We had to take a first class stamp. We had to take £9 coins. What else did we have to take? I think those are three things. There's some other things as well on there. An envelope, pen and pad would help. They said, and then all the stuff that we would need to go from start. Oh, a compass. We have to take compass, a whistle, and then all your normal mandatory stuff as you're running. 5 days before the event, we got told where it started. It started in Chapel the Firth. So they'll tell you where it starts, obviously, didn't they? So Chapel the Firth, it started. I thought there could have been a bit of a clue to where we started, but there wasn't. It was just straight up Chapel the Firth. You're starting at the Scout at Chapel Firth. Rocked up, absolutely brilliant. The room was full of excited runners. Only 50 people taking part. There was 8 teams of 3, loads of single people. So, yep, rocked up, absolutely great. And we were given a bit of a chat. So if you're watching this right here and right now, you will see that here is my bio, and my bio turns around and it says codename Kestrel, agent, it's redacted, date of birth, hometown Hollymoorside, agent bio, a career agent specialising in espionage and logistics, codename Kestrel, is an untrustworthy individual capable of almost anything. So remember that, untrustworthy. I'm untrustworthy. Kestrel, or not I'm untrustworthy, Kestrel was. Kestrel has a deep-rooted distrust for us and will often leave the consideration of the mission almost as if out of spite. On top of this, Kestrel's complicated past with figures such as, and it's redacted, add unnecessary stresses to even simple missions. Employ with caution, and the job will complete, but the headache will make you question if it was worth the hassle. So that's what we got to read to start with. That was a bio of someone called Kestrel that we were going to be following in their footsteps. We were following in their footsteps. And we were given a form, shall I say. So next up was a bit of a form, and it said your starting card, case note 4959. On this card, you will find your team ID number, which is above 4959. You will need this to access any QR codes found along the route. So there's potentially going to be some QR codes on the route. And it says one person was assigned to move, and then it doesn't tell you what we're assigned to move, from this point towards onwards, referred to as the device. Okay, so we're just going to call it the device. So it was assigned to move a device, and he was moved from Chapel of Firth to an undisclosed location around Lincoln. So we knew we were heading towards Lincoln, and their code name was Kestrel. At first, they followed orders. Before long, they started to question them. Kestrel did not finish the job. They disappeared somewhere between two locations. The device was never recovered. Operation Broken Arrow briefing. Your job is to find the device, but rather retrace, is not to find the device, sorry, but rather retrace the steps and decisions of the agent known as Kestrel. The first decision is now. And we were given a choice of two things to do. So this is our choices. So it was your job is not to find the device, but rather retrace the steps and decisions of the agent known as Kestrel. Make the first decision before you. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. The first decision is before you. Falcon followed orders and took the route south towards Buxton. Yeah, that's what HQ said. Or B, we could avoid the main path and head towards higher ground. Head east towards Mantor. This was not the order, but it's consistent with Falcon's behavior because obviously didn't do what they said. So we decided we were going to go head. We were going to head north. Well, it was actually north east, should I say, up towards Mantor. We know Mantor. We've run Mantor a lot. We know that area and everything else. But then there was a HQ statement. You are tasked with finding an item weighing at least 1 kilogram and carrying it to the finish line. This will simulate the device that Falcon carried. Do not discard this item unless you think you know what Falcon did. Oh, you see, all of that, very, very cryptic. Wasn't sure what was going to do. So we set off. We set off and we were given a set of cards. So we were given a set of cards and there were quite a few cards on them. There was a whole bunch of them, as you can see online. But the first one said, open after 4 miles. So we set off. We were on the road. There were about 4 or 5 other teams set off with us. We didn't want to set a pace, but we were setting a pace. We were trying to run about 4 miles an hour. That's what we planned on doing. While you can run, take it steady. It was all uphill, so we set off up to Mantor. And about 3.5 miles into it, we said, right, we've got to find a device that weighs 1 kilogram now. And we're told it could be anything. So we all found some type of rock. I got a rock, really nice, squarish type rock. I thought it was really cute. So something I could hold in one hand while I was running. My kit bag was full, so I couldn't put it in my kit bag, but I could carry this in one hand. It was nice and easy to carry, not too heavy. I want to say, I chat GPT'd it and said, how much does this rock weigh? And it told me it weighed between 1 and 1.2 kilograms. So I'm like, that's cool. That's cool. Take a picture, chat GPT it, tell you how much it weighs. So yeah, 1.12 kilograms was my first thing. So next up, we had to open up the envelope. So we'd picked up our rock and we headed off, continued. And then we got to mile 4 and it said, open this first envelope. So open 1B, open after 4 miles. So we got 4 miles, checked it on our Garmin's, 4 miles, opened up the envelope. And this is what it said. It said, Kestrel's initial route log, entry 1.1. The line they gave me is too exposed, too predictable. I need the South Valley. The River Wye, it runs east without announcing itself. And then HQ statement underneath was, Kestrel abandoned the brief line and moved towards the valley. How do you believe they did this? And when you turned the card over, there were some scratch panels, and it had 3 scratch panels on. And it said, do you descend south from the high ground? Do you head through Tidswell village? Or C, take a compass bearing due south and hold that line? Well, we decided, to scratch the top one off. And the top one was descend south. So we left the high ground, we headed south towards Monsell Trail and the River Wye Valley. And once we reached that, we would head east along the river. And that's what it told us to do. So we came off Mamtor. We were just about to go up Mamtor. We came off. We headed basically due south. I want to turn around and say it was literally just we headed south. Along a trail. We'd never been down here. We'd never been down this route before. The last time I went to the Monsell Trail was it was about 2 years ago when I was trying to do an 100 miler and went on the Munsell Trail then. And I remember all I remember was, it was just open and barren and really rubbish running, I'm going to turn around and say. So I wasn't really looking forward to it. Never been to a village called Tidswell or whatever it was, but we were heading that way anyway. So we just kept on going down there, feeling really, really good. We'd done 4 miles in about 50 minutes, I think, and we just kept on going. We're just a really nice running pace. We decided if we were uphill, we were going to walk. If we were flat or downhill, we were going to run. Because we knew it was going to be a long race. We knew it was going to be a long race, so that's exactly what we did. Just kept on going. To see where we were going to end up. So yeah, south we went. So we're down south. Yeah. Next envelope, 8 miles. We come to a village called Tiswell. We were about a mile outside it, I think. And it said on our next envelope, it did say risk reward open after 8 miles. So the next envelope we after 8 miles. So we get to this point, we decided, yep, let's open the envelope. So we did. We opened the envelope as you would. There was a code in it that told us things like it said Kestrel related to the words. So K was an A, E was a B, S was a C, T was a D, and so forth. And it went all through the alphabet, told us all different things. So it was like quite an easy like code. We thought, all right, we're going to find something at some point that's going to say whatever A equals G, C equals I, and so forth. So we got this code, this cipher, and we thought, okay, that was good. And we also got another card. So this next card, we'd opened at mile 8, and it said to us, so the first part of the card was the extract from Kestrel's log entry, undated. There are things left on the route, not by accident. I put them there. Whether they are still there depends on how long this takes. One of them is below the trail, not on it. You will only find it if you look where people do not usually look. Kestrel's field log, undated fragment. And it said HQ statement, Kestrel left something on this route. What do you believe it was, and do you look for it? On the reverse, there was like the crossing off. You get this all the time. There was scratches all the way through. So it was A, it was information. I'm going to search for it. B, it was a distraction. Do not divert from my original route. Or C, it has already been taken. Someone got there first. So you got to decide on which you're going to do. And we thought, well, we're in for a penny, in for a pound, as they say. So we decided we were going to look for it. So we scratched off the top one. And he said, navigate to the coordinates below to find a bench roughly 1 mile west of the Monsell Head Viaduct. You'll find a QR code there with more information. So we headed that way. We couldn't find no QR code. I'm going to turn and say there was a clue said it said tennis gifted ferry. We couldn't find a QR code, but one of the clues, if you remember, it turned around and said it wasn't where you normally look for it. It says it's under the trail. So we looked under the trail. So I went down and I found a little box. I found a little box. And in that little box, it had two things. And it had this code name, number of the hidden parking space. So it didn't tell us what number it was, 16, 6, 68, 88, blank, 98. Didn't tell us what number it was. But there was that in it. And then there was also a little riddle. Two off-duty Section 5 agents, Mitcham and Barnes, go out for drinks. They ordered the same cocktail. Mitcham was very thirsty and finished 5 in the time it took Barnes to finish 1. The hunters had poisoned the drinks, but only Barnes died. How? So remember this, Mitcham and Barnes, yeah. Barnes has 1 cocktail, drinks it and dies, but Mitcham has 5 cocktails and lives. So I'll give you this at the end of the podcast. I'll give the answer because I know the answer to this. I've actually done this before in terms of it's a riddle that I've shared before with some of my team and that, like when you do little riddles at work and things like that. So yeah, so I did this. So I'll give you the answer at the end. If I remember to give you the answer then, I might not give you, I might let you just figure it out yourselves. In fact, no, I'm going to let you figure it out yourselves. Google it, do whatever you want. I'm sure you can Google it and find the answer. But it's a very, very simple one. It's not too hard. I'm sure you will find it. All right. Okay, so we continued. Yeah, we did. We continue along the Munsell Trail. The next stop was the viaduct. Our next one turned around and said, "Open on arrival at the viaduct." We were about a mile from it, so we kept on going and headed over towards the viaduct, which was a little bit, I want to say about a mile down the road. This is a mile. I want to say it was probably just over a mile. As we got to the viaduct, we decided at this point we were about 3.5 hours into it, maybe 3 hours into it, and we decided we'd covered about 13 miles. I want to turn around and say 3 hours into it, 30 miles. We decided, right, it's time to check his feet, make sure his feet's all right. Because when you're doing these ultras, you've got to keep on checking your feet. Your feet are, well, what you need. You need them. So I took my socks off. My feet were looking good. I put some trail skin on. I'm a big fan of this new trail skin, this anti-chafe stuff. I'd already taped my toes up beforehand, so one of them were coming off. So I pulled it off, just not a blister, just pulled the tape off. Because if it's not on right, it does start to get to you a little bit. So anyone who does ultra runs knows this. So pulled the tape off, put some anti-chafe on. All of my feet were feeling good. My socks were like good. I was feeling good. Took on some nutrition, and then we opened up the next box, or envelope, should I say, not box. Opened up the next envelope, and on that next envelope, we got another direction, which said, "A witness statement taken near the Monsell Head. I saw them on the viaduct. Someone was carrying something wrapped up. They stopped in the middle, looked both ways along the valley. Then they were gone. I couldn't tell you which way they went, down to the river or up the hill or straight on along the trail. I genuinely couldn't say." So the HQ sent Kestrel and potentially another stood in the viaduct and plotted their route towards Bakewell town. Which line did they take? And we also got a cipher part two. So we got the cipher to part two, which was A to J letters equaled numbers. So popped that in his bag and off we went. Flipped it over. On the other side, it said, "Do we take the river? Do we take the old railway line or the high road?" Well, the railway line said it was faster and more direct. So we thought, let's stay faster and more direct. And he said, "Stay on the Munsell Trail. It is the fastest and most direct choice." And that it said, "As you go under tunnels and that, write down what you see at the entrance and exit of each tunnel and bridge. Something was observed at one of these tunnels during the operation. You will not be told which one until the finish. Continue east to Bakewell Station before descending to the town and open the next envelope." So yeah, so we kept on going. We looked at all the bridges as we were going under, all the tunnels we went under. There were things on them. One said Bolsterton Tunnel, and we missed it. We didn't find a single thing that was observed that we could have seen. And we headed down into Bakewell Town. As we're heading down into Bakewell Town, we get a picture. So we had joined a WhatsApp group with HQ, and they'd taken a picture of us running and went, "You missed us," and sent a picture of us all running. And they got a drone and taken pictures. And we should have turned and we should have seen the drone, but we didn't. And that became later. Obviously, later on, that someone was following us, and we should have known that someone was following us, but we didn't realize until later. So we get it down into Bakewell town. Oh, we stopped as well to fill up some drinks. There was a Bakewell train station, an old train station, no longer a train station, but an old one. And it was great. It had food and everything else. So we headed down to Bakewell town from there. And we took probably a little bit wrong diversion. We went about 2.5 miles out of his route. So we went past Bakewell before coming back into Bakewell. So it's about 2.5 miles. Going to Bakewell town. Bakewell was absolutely packed. There was a food festival on. And as you're running, you want to take in carbs, don't you? You want to take in as much carbs as you can. I've got all my nutrition in my bag. I've got high carb drinks. I've got high carb food. I've got some Cliff bars. I've got some Voom bars. Voom bars, by the way, absolutely amazing. Beetroot and chocolate. You need to test them, guys. Absolutely amazing. They're a game changer. But we all headed down to Bakewell town, food festival. I was saliving. Is that the word? So salivating. I was as we went into the food town. Oh, it was absolutely amazing. But we couldn't eat nothing because, when I'm running like that, I can't have big, stodgy food. I've got to have small bites. But I was so like, there was a Thai green curry that just smelled so good coming from this street food place. But it was absolutely packed. But we get into Bakewell, we get to the bridge in Bakewell, and it was time to open up the next envelope. Because it told us when we get to Bakewell, open up your next envelope. We opened up the next envelope, which was aptly named Cherry. So number four was aptly named Cherry Bakewell. Yeah. So we're on the bridge and we opens it up, and what we got was another clue and another location. So it said, um, Kestrel's log entry updated. Bakewell, I stopped here longer than I should have. Left something behind, not the device, something smaller, something that proves I was here and knew what I was doing. Then I headed east. The instruction said east anyway at this point. For once, I agreed with them. And so we knew we were going to head east, but it also gave us another little thing. So as you can see here on the picture, if you're watching it on YouTube, it was north coordinates LTEERDKT, west coordinates KKESAEKCSR. Decode and retain. Do not act on this coordinate until instructed. Your current route continues east from Bakewell. This location will become relevant after you have passed through the reservoir sector. So we knew we were going to pass through a reservoir sector at some point, and we knew we were just heading east at this time. When we turned it over, the card, it turned around and said, you have a stamp. Write no more than one sentence describing what you think is happening. And then post it to HQ at 12 Maple Close, DE55 3BH. It will arrive after the event ends, but provide important clues. Head east out of Bakewells towards a stately home. This is Kestrel's confirmed pathing or pathing, whatever you want to call it. So we were heading towards a stately home. What is east of Bakewell? Knowing a little bit of geography, I knew that Chatsworth House was east. So I said, but we're heading for Chatsworth House. Jamie got his map up, had a look. Yeah, it's east. Chatsworth House. So that's where we thought we were heading. And we thought, well, let's get to Chatsworth House, and then we'll open up number 5, because that's what it had said, head towards a stately home. At this point, we now had to go on roads. I hate road running. I really hate road running. Most of the time, we've been off trail up until this point, bit undulating, but now it was road running. Oh, and it was a killer. The feet were taking a proper battering. My knees, I'd strapped up my knee early on. People know me. I've been struggling with a bit of knee ache in my left knee. I had got a support on, and I put some KT tape on it, some special knee one as well, which is quite good actually. It goes around the outside of the knee, along outside is the kneecap. So is that called the patella? I think it's called the patella. It goes around the outside of it. So so I put it on, and but going uphill first of all, and then running downhill in towards Chatsworth. It was proper painful. And I can't explain what it's like. But when you're stopping, you get sharp pain when you're stopping going downhill. So I was having to fly downhill. So I was actually hitting some proper speed. Not quite like in a car, but yeah, I was going proper speed. Going downhill, gets to Chatsworth, finds a big tree. The heat was absolutely phenomenal at this point. It was red hot. The weather forecast were good, no rain, even though I got rain stuff in my bag, no rain. But the heat was getting to us. So we get to Chatsworth House, and just before we hit it, there's a big oak tree with some benching around it. Let's get under there. Let's get under this oak tree. Let's get some some shade just for 5 minutes. We'll open up number 5. Oh, by the way, we had decoded the letters, the LTRR DKT, and everything else. And it gave us a random numbers. It was north coordinates, random numbers, west coordinates, random numbers. We did the L and the T with cipher 1, which gave us other letters. And then we deciphered those letters with cipher 2 that gave us numbers. So there's strings of, I want to say 7 numbers. 2, 4, yeah, about 7 numbers. Yeah, I want to say 7 numbers. 7 numbers, 7 or 8 numbers anyway. And it gave us these numbers. So we got a code, but we didn't know where we were going. So we just got this code, and he said it was going to come evident later. So that was what we did. So we opened up envelope number 5. So we opened up the envelope. Yeah. As you know, it's getting a bit monotonous as you open envelopes every 4 to 5 miles. But it's good fun. I was proper enjoying it at this point. Even though I wasn't sure what was going on, yeah, I know I'm following in the footsteps of Kestrel or something like that, but I'm still not 100% sure what's going on. We're just making random decisions. But anyway, we opened up envelope number 5, sat on this tree, opened up envelope number 5, and what did we get? So we got internal memo, classification removed. The deviation was not a navigation error. Kestrel has made a choice, not a mistake. Falcon is now active. The LI, something reservoir, access logs have been requested from the CHE ID brands. Don't know what that was. Do not approach from, and then it said redacted corridor. The route is now considered, redact again. Document ends, remaining pages removed. Kestrel deviated deliberately. The name appears Falcon. What do you believe Falcon is? Your answer determines how you reach the reservoir. We had no idea. We had no idea. So we thought, first of all, let's see what LI reservoir access log is. What does that mean? So we opened up his phones, looked on, the maps, local maps, and we found one, I think it was Lineker Reservoir near Chesterfield. So we thought, okay, so that's where we're going to go. So we turned the card over. There was 3 choices on there. Falcon is a person who Kestrel trusts more than HQ. Falcon is a place that Kestrel has been aiming for the whole time. Or Falcon is protocol, a contingency already running. And on this, we thought it mentioned something about Falcon is now active in the reservoir. So we thought this is a place. So we opened up Falcon is a place that Kestrel has been aiming for the whole time. We wasn't sure if this was right, but we thought, let's have a look. So the reservoir is Falcon. Yeah. Find it and head there immediately. So we thought, oh, we're right. Yeah, we're perfect. Falcon. Yeah, we got it. The reservoir is Falcon. Record the name of every settlement you pass through along the way. So we're at Chatsworth House. We find where Lineker Reservoir is, and we decide, yeah, we're going to go there. So we sets off going. The first thing we come to, yeah, is a little village, yeah, called Netherhead. I want to call it, not or Nethermore, Netherhead or Nethermore. So we write Netherwood down, and there is a ice cream shop. There's an ice cream shop. This is 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the daytime, and the sun is beaming down on us. Yeah, it was ice cream. I had a rhubarb and lime ice cream. It was like a sorbet type thing. Oh, absolutely amazing. Thank you, Rob, for buying them. Absolutely amazing. We walked out. These ice cream, we devoured them within seconds. I said I can't normally eat like solid food, so I thought ice cream, it's not solid food as such, is it? So solid food. And then there's a pub across the road. Before I know it, Jamie's in the pub. And Jamie's in the pub. And is coming out with 3 pints of shandy. Give him his due. It was shandy. So we had 3 pints of shandy before we decided to set on to Lineker Reservoir. At this point, Jamie had been mainly in control of getting us from point A to point B because he downloaded OS Maps. I got Google Maps. He downloaded our OS Maps. Rob was doing whatever Rob does. We don't trust Rob when it comes to map thing because he just gets us lost wherever we go. I don't know if I've ever told a story about we took little Libby Joyce when she was about 14. We had to go for a winter run up on the top of Kinder Scout. We'd done it loads of times. Yeah. Rob decided he was going to be in charge of the route mapping. And we get to the top. Linda was with us as well. And Jamie was with us. And there's about 6 of us. We get to the top and it's white over, absolutely white over on top of Kinder Scout. And Rob goes, I know where we're going, and we're going this way. Well, as he said, we're going that way. I went, paths here, guys. And before I know it, they'd vanished. They'd dropped into a little ditch on top of Kinder Scout. I'm up there on my own. They're going one way. And I thought to myself, okay, they've got the maps. Rob's got the maps. He'll take them wherever he's going. I'll stick to the path. So I stuck to the path, and I gets about 5 miles further on, and there's a little grassy knoll. So I get this grassy knoll, And I'm there and I'm trying to call them, no answer, no answer. No. But an hour later, they rocks up. They had not gone Edale Edge. They'd gone over the other side. Yeah. I think it's not, I can't remember what the name of it. They're going to the other side anyway. It was about 4 miles apart from us. It completely taken the wrong way, even though we had the maps and knew where we should have been going. So yeah, Rob, I'm sorry, mate, but we don't trust you. So while we're there having a shandy, I downloaded OS Maps. I thought, right, we can get us there. And I found us a really nice route that was off-road. I was determined to take us off-road as much as possible. And we had to go and road for about a mile, mile and a half. And then we were off-road for the rest of the 3 miles. So we didn't go past one other village called Wiggly. Wiggly. So Norwood and Wiggly before we get to Lineker Reservoir. And that's where we had to open up the next envelope. So as we got to the reservoir, we opened up envelope number 6, aptly titled Wet, just wet. Which I think is quite funny because this is what it says. As a Bakewell, it said cherry. This one said wet because it's a reservoir. I think it's great that the envelopes, when you start, don't always give you clues to where you're going, which is absolutely perfect. So we opened up envelope number 6, which was called Wet, and it's when we got to Lineker Reservoir. And on that, it turned around and said, Water Authority Access Log. Unidentified individuals observed at southern perimeter, upper reservoir, did not respond to challenge, carried a large cylindrical item and departed east on foot. Not pursued, note appended in separate hand. Lineker Reservoir's log, date withheld. Kestrel was at the reservoir in the evening carrying the object. What were they doing? And when you flipped it over, it gave you three ideas. One of them was cooling the device. One was searching for something hidden on the waterline, and C was making contact with someone. At this point, if you look back to when we looked under the bridge and we got the little secret thing that had the riddle and that in it, it had a bit of a, what do they call it, that nuclear reactor sign on it. So when we had in our head nuclear reactors, so we aptly scratched off cooling the device, thinking it was a nuclear reactor, and thought, yeah, we best get that one scratched off and see what happens. So cooling the device, we thought, might be back to overeat. So that's exactly what we did. We scratched it off, and it said, once arriving at the reservoir, each team member must simulate cooling their device by pouring water over their object. Well, we didn't pour water over his object. We literally dunked it into the reservoir. Yeah, we didn't pour water, we just dunked it in the reservoir. So we've got our rocks, we all got those rocks out, dunked them in the reservoir, and we opened up our next time. It says here, it says Kestrel would have avoided Chesterfield being up another bar, because at the bottom it said Kestrel would have avoided Chesterfield town centre due to it being a Saturday nightlife and potentially hostile locals. Intel suggests he was feeling homesick. Head to your decoded coordinates and open up your next envelope up on arrival. So, if you know earlier, we got the decoded coordinates. It gave us a list of numbers, and so we edited it. It took us down to a place south of Chesterfield. I want to call it Wingerworth, and it had an actual address on 6 Nethermoor Road. When you put it in, so that those digits confirmed to a longitude and latitude, I want to call it. So we Googled it. Yeah, Googled longitude, latitude, and it took us to 6 Nethermoor Road. And we thought, right, let's go down there. The next envelope, though, had a bit of a cryptic clue on it because it said 7A bus, only open if you arrive before 22:30, so at 10:30 p.m. So we set off. We were going down some off trails. We ended up, I can't remember where it was. I think it was Chesterfield Golf Club, and you all know Paula, my wife to be, rings me. I'm 3 minutes away, and I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? You're 3 minutes away. This is whoa. I says, well, you can't find us now because we're going through Chesterfield Golf Club, but we're heading to a place called Langer Lane, which was the next thing. So we ended up through Chesterfield Golf Club. Literally 5 minutes later, she's there in the car. She has got us bananas, she has got us Star Bars, and she got some alcohol-free beer, which was absolutely amazing. We had the banana there. We turned down the beer. Can you believe it? I turned down beer, yes, and it was alcohol-free. I turned it down. It was in a bottle. Didn't want to carry a bottle. Thank you though, Paula. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, gave her a kiss and said thank you very much indeed. Oh, and Betty was there as well. Betty, our dog, was nice to please. Amazing that when your partner drives, I want to say about 80, 90 miles from home just to fetch you a banana, beer and Star Bar. Star Bar's my favourite, by the way. I love Star Bars. I think they're great for energy. Pop the Star Bar in my pocket, in my backpack. But yeah, thank you very much, Paula. Much appreciated. So we kept on heading to where we were going. We was only about 2 miles from where we was heading at this point. It's number 6, Nethermoor Road. And it was about 8. It wasn't even dark. It was just starting to get, at dusk. It was about 7, 7:30. It was just starting to get dark. So we had to be there before 10:30. We got there well in time. So as you know, 7A was bus open if you arrive before 10:30. There was another envelope that said open if you arrive after 10:30, but we were there before 10:30. So we opened up the next envelope, and we were running really well at this point. We were actually running absolutely phenomenal. I was well pleased with our state of running. And it said in there, the bus company incident log, passenger boarded, paid fare in coins, no change requested, large pack not removed, sat rear, exited 3 stops later, did not press bell, moved to door as bus slowed at a junction, then stepped off. The fare was correct, no incident. Driver noted it only because of the bag. So there was a bit of an internal bus company log there. And the HQ statement, Kestrel used a bus once. What were you doing? Or what were they doing? And what do you do? And on the rear, it gave board the next bus and lose the tail, gain the high ground and see what is ahead. So we thought, let's play this game. Let us play the game. And anything to get off my feet for 10 minutes, if I'm honest. So it was board the bus. Board the bus, we thought, board the bus. You're authorised to board the next bus you encounter. Heading south or east, ride exactly 3 stops, no more. Pay with pound coins. So we had £9 coins. I said to you earlier on, we had £9 coins. We'd already used a stamp. We've got £9 coins. Accept no change. At each stop, photograph what you can see from the window without standing up. Exit without drawing attention. This is the only authorised use of transport in this operation. If no bus appears within 30 minutes, continue on foot. So we're at the bus stop. Right, let's get some things sorted. So we started to just check his bags, get some food inside us, waiting for a bus. 30 minutes passed. 30 minutes stood at this bus stop. Not a single bus arrived. Not a single bus arrived. So thought, well, let's just keep heading east. Keep on heading east. It did turn around and said, you passed the midpoint of your operation. GPS data is being reviewed. No anomalies flagged yet. Confirm your objects with you, and reply carried or missing if we still got an object. So we replied carried. It said intel points towards Kestrel, taking a network of trails east towards another stately home. We don't know why he was targeting them. Open the next envelope when you arrived there. So we couldn't catch a bus, so we thought east. What stately home's east? And we get our maps out again, and we find one called Hardwick. And what Hardwick Hall, I think it was called, or Hardwick Home. So yeah, let's keep on going there. Starting to get dark. About a mile into us, we'd not spent his pound coins, and we want to play the game. We want to play the game. So we saw a kebab place. Yes, we stopped at a kebab place. We had chicken kebabs. Chicken wraps. They weren't even kebabs, they were wraps. So chicken wraps with some chips, loads of salt on. Going to turn around and say I had 2 bites of my kebab because I've struggled to eat the stuff like this. I call them kebabs, the wraps, chicken wrap. So sealed it all back up, put it in my rucksack, and then I had some chips. I put loads of salt on my chips. I put some loads of salt on my chips and put the others in a bin. There was a bin about a mile further down. I put the others in the bin. But I've got my chicken wrap. I thought I'll have some of that later on at middle at night. Chicken wrap might just help me keep going. and that, and we carried on. We got to we ended up towards a place called Hardwick Hall, which was, I want to say, about 5 miles further down the road, 5 or 6 miles further down the road, and we just ends up getting there. It was just one of these little runs that you do. Really nice off road though. Head torches on. I love running at night time with head torches on. If you're off road, head torches is absolutely phenomenal. It's one of the best things ever. So we get to Hardwick Hall. At this point, we opens up our next envelope, which is entitled Royalty. And I say royalty because it's like Hardwick Hall. It's like, it takes a bit of royalty into it. I know it is in Yorkshire. There's a lot of Hardwicks in Yorkshire that known for the royalty. And we ends up the next envelope. And what that said was, it said, personal note, handwriting analysis consistent with Kestrel at 71% confidence. There is a threshold, and it's not the moment you decide to stop following orders. That comes quietly, almost boringly. The threshold is earlier. The moment you realize you have already crossed it and it didn't notice. I crossed mine somewhere back on the high ground. I know the approximate location. I'm not writing it down. Recovered personal note, classification pending. Kestrel crossed the line without noticing. So did Kestrel go like rogue? Sounds like Kestrel went rogue. What did they do once they realized? We didn't know at this point. We weren't sure. I mean, it's night time and you're starting to doubt yourself, everything. You know what I mean? You listen to these and you're trying to think, we couldn't get the gist of it. It had lost me at some point. I'm not sure where it had lost me. So we just decided just continue to try and play the game. Heron has been located. Do not engage. Do not respond. Don't even know who Heron is. Do not respond to anyone using that name unprompted. Contact HQ with one word only. Your team's current assessment of HQ's intentions, any word, one word. And we replied with no idea. No idea, because that is exactly what we had. We had no idea. We had no idea. We turned it over. It said Kestrel crossed the line without noticing it. What did they do once they realized it? Did they? A, they climbed elevation, cleared Kestrel's head. They planned a new route and continued. B, they took to cover and planned their next step. C, they kept moving as before but went silent. And we decided we were going to scratch off number C. So we got to have seen it said your team moves together for the next 45 minutes, no verbal communication, navigation by it says gesture, map pointing, or written notes only. If communication is genuinely necessary for safety, it is permitted. However, spoken word must be logged and the reason recorded. At the end of 45 minutes, each team member must for the others that they are now believe about the operation, and they did not believe at the start, then continuing. So for 45 minutes, we stayed quiet. We didn't say a word. We were going like this. I'm going, oh, come here, pointing, shouting, like, but waving his hands, trying to get to the tensions. And we went uphill. It said, do we go uphill on this thing? But we actually went uphill. So we was continuing going up onto the high ground, just waving at each other and pointing and like gesturing left and right and all of that type of stuff until 45 minutes passed. I looked at my watch and I shouted out like, 45 minutes past, lads. I've still no idea. Jamie went, neither me. And Rob's going, oh, I've lost the plot completely. So none of us at this point had any idea what we were doing. So we were just heading east. Envelope number 9 had said, we will contact you when it's time to open this envelope. All right. So we were just heading east. And we were coming up to, on the maps that we saw in the registration area, they've got big maps of roughly all the way from the start, which Chapel of Firth, right down towards Lincoln and Newark and that type of area. So we knew we were heading that way east along those routes. We didn't know whereabouts, but we just knew we were going to end up somewhere near Newark or Lincoln or that area. And part of them, a couple of the towns, so Mansfield and Chesterfield, have got big X's on them, the big circle and a big X on them. And so we thought, we can't go near Chesterfield because we'd already been told that. And we thought we can't go near Mansfield. So we were skirting around, I want to say around the north east side, yeah, about the northeast side of Mansfield. We were skating around that area, and we were doing really, really well. And we'd been running, and we were following this valley, this river. So our thought process was, if we stay on the river, we find a river, which we did, it's going to take us downhill. It's going to be all downhill, guaranteed to be downhill. And we had a good hour running. And I mean, we were running downhill. It's a single trail, running downhill, egg torches on. It were amazing. River lapping at the side of us. One of the best running sections I had done in a long time. And we stopped at the bottom, and we get his phones out. Not heard the phone buzz or anything else, but Rob goes, "Oh, we've got a message." The message had come 45 minutes earlier, and it was to open parcel envelope, not parcel, envelope number 9. So opening the envelope, yeah, it was a little bit, I don't know. It was a very cryptic. It turned around and said, and if you're watching on YouTube, like I say, if you're watching on YouTube, you get to see all of these that it's watching, by the way. So it said, plain paper, block capitals, no date, no signature, no header, a grid reference. Below it, one line, 5 coins, you know where, nothing else. Contents of sealed insert found in Kestrel's last known accommodation. No idea what this meant. HQ statement. Someone left this. It is likely nothing and should probably be ignored, but you should at least know about it. The coordinates reference a place in Sherwood Pines. The code to open the box has been in your possession since mile 0. Who do you believe sent it? I had no idea. And when we turned it over, it was even more clearly. It said, Kestrel, a dead drop, they intended to be found. HQ, this is a test. You don't need to go there. Or Heron, you should navigate this report to it and move on. Well, we just put Kestrel. Let's scratch it off and say that Kestrel has put a dead drop. Let's head over towards Sherwood Pines. And it gave us a grid reference. And it said the code is a 4-digit case reference from your start card to just head there, just head towards this grid reference. This time, this is like, I want to say this is at 12:30 at night. This is 12:30 at night. We've been running that long, and it took us the wrong way. As I mentioned, we were at Mansfield, and we were the northeast of Mansfield. Sherwood Pines is the northwest of Mansfield. So we were like virtually double backing ourselves. We were really, really struggling at this point. But we thought, let's head there. Let's just head there. We've got another text at 1:25. It said the Griff reference has been confirmed to be in Sherwood Pines Forest. While not essential, we believe Kestrel left a fragment behind stating where he intended to end the journey. So we knew we were heading in the right place. We knew we got to be headed towards Sherwood Pines. There's going to be something there that we're going to pick up. I had no idea what it was, but we were going to pick something up there and get to wherever we were going. So we headed there. Absolute nightmare to get there. We we went down this path that became a dead end, and then we had to double back on ourselves, and we went down another path, and there was just this metal fencing all the way down it, and we just couldn't get past this metal fencing for about half a mile, so we turned back. We went 20-30 yards the other direction and found a little gap in the edge in the fencing so we could get through there, which then brought us onto another path, but then we had to go off route. Oh, it was an absolute nightmare to get to Sherwood Pines from where we were. We should have gone the other way down Mansfield, but because we'd come down this way, down the eastern side, that's where we'd gone wrong. We should have gone down the western side. But we doubled back on ourselves, gone underneath Mansfield, come back up onto Sherwood Pines. We eventually got there, and there was a box, a metal box, and it had digits on it. You know, when they like safes, and you put, and we popped it in, which was our case. We see right from the start, it said we're carrying it, which was the case reference number 4959, I think it was. So we popped that in. And it came up with a piece of map, just a fragment of a map, and it said Stapleford on it on this map. So we thought, right, it's told us that's where we're going to go to. That's where we're heading towards. So Stapleford is the final location. So we set off going there. Oh, it also said open up your next envelope. So we did. We opened up our the next envelope said open when you cross the river. So there was a river on its way towards this location, which was about, I want to say about 40 miles, about 30 miles at this point. It looked like about 30 miles. So we had to cross the River Trent. And it said open when you cross the Big Wide River. So we were heading down, and it was a real long road sections. We tried to get off as road as much as possible using OS maps. But I want to say it was quite dangerous at some points, because you're running. It's a good job it was nighttime and not daytime. I'd hate to do it in daytime. You're running on the road, running the right hand side so we can see oncoming traffic. We've got head torches on, and the sun rose about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and we just literally got off the main roads. We dropped down into a little village called Bathingley or somewhere like that, and we were going through this little village until we got back onto the main road. But then there was a path at the side of it, which was cool. I like paths at the side of the road. I'm cool with that. Hate running on road when there's no paths. But we dropped down. We got down to like a river, River Trent. It's on Newark-on-Trent, so yeah, River on Trent. And it said open up your next envelope. So it's exactly what we did. We opened up our next envelope, and on this envelope, it turned around and said to us, civilian statement, location with elders, witness request. They stopped on the bridge, not looking at a map or equipment, but looking at the water. They looked like someone had made a decision, not someone about to make one. I didn't speak to them. I almost did. I wish I had. And that was a statement. And then in the HQ statement, it was Kestrel had already decided something before they reached this crossing. What was it? The civilian statement is the last known information on Kestrel before their disappearance, and the trail goes cold. So this is where Kestrel vanished completely. Final third of our operation, the object should still be with you. Send the word carried to HQ if it's still with you. So we sent the word to carried to HQ. And on the back, we were given a choice of 3 things. Decide to finish things on our own terms. Decide who to trust and send a warning, and then temporarily left the route. What did Kestrel do? They decided to finish things on their own term, and we stretched it off. And he said, at the next river crossing you reach, stop on the structure, approach the next person you encounter nearby, whether that be a walker, a cyclist, or anyone, and ask them a question. If you had to describe this place to someone who had never been here before, what would you say to them? And write down the exact 3 words, and then carry on to the finish being Stapleford. So this is around about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. In fact, it was just before 9 o'clock in the morning. And so we get to the next bridge, and we stopped, and we said to someone, hey, describe Newark. And we asked 3 people. We got historic. I shouldn't say this one, but we had someone said shithole. We got historic, we got shithole, and we said beautiful place. So there were 3 people who said 3 different things, which was actually crazy. But yeah, and then we carried on towards Stapleford, which was, I want to turn around and say it was about 10, 12 miles that we had to go from this bridge. So we just set off, and it just seemed to be ages. And at this point, I got blisters. My feet, I'd looked after my feet. I'd stopped several times. I've put my trail skin on, but I got 2 blisters. I got one on my right foot under my toes, and I got one on the heel of my right foot. And the one on the heel was all right, didn't hurt. The ones on the toes were just starting to sing a little bit, and I got a hot spot on my left foot, on the heel of my left foot. So I took my shoes off, had a look at the blister. It was absolutely fine. Put my shoes back on. I put a blister plaster on. Put shoes back on. And as I put my shoes back on, I twisted my foot, and I felt it pop. I felt the blister pop. I was in agony. Yeah, it wasn't the nicest thing when your blister popped. And then the skin would move. So I knew I got 10, 12 miles to go, and I was going to be in pain. Like I say, 10, 12 miles to go, in pain. And I said to the boys, I says, look, Rob's at this point where his feet were battered, Rob's. He was actually, if he was on his toes, he was fine, because he got these big blisters on his heels. If his toes, he was fine, so he was actually dancing on his toes. We all felt good. We actually all felt pretty good. We'd gone all through the night. We're coming up to the 24-hour mark since the race started. We covered 70, just over 70 miles. So we carried on going. I wanted to get 75 miles in 24 hours, and we did. We actually got 75 miles in 24 hours. It was absolutely that was my goal. I think we got 76 in total. So I got that because that sets me up for world's toughest mudder. Because I want to see if I could get 75 miles in 24 hours, because that is the holy grail of world's toughest mudder, isn't it? So this was like a bit of a training run for that. Can I go that far? Furthest I've ever gone before has been just below 70, so I know I'd gone the furthest I've ever been, and I'd done it in 24 hours. So I was so happy with that. Yeah, so we carried on going. We actually get to Stapleford, the time that we want to, in about 26 hours. And as we get there, this is we knew we were in the Stapleford Village Hall, and we were given an envelope. And there's a guy there, he just handed this envelope, and it said, HQ says that this location has now become compromised. Find us at a secondary location. Imagine at this point, we ran 80 miles. Yeah, we ran 80 miles. Or walked 80 miles. I'm not sure we ran full 80 miles. We walked 80 miles. You come into what you think is the finish line. And bear in mind, the last 2 miles of this finish line was all on road, one straight long road. You could see it for absolutely 2 miles, straight long road. And you get in there, and we get to it to find out that we aren't finished. We haven't actually finished. Well, good. Absolutely gutted. Phones back out. We had to go to a place called Carton Le Moreland Village Hall, which in its own right, we're only 3.5 miles away. But when you finish, that deflated, then you've got to get yourself up to go. Rob was like, I'm not going any further. I'm not going nowhere. This is it. I am done completely. Jamie, on the other hand, was, come on, let's go. We've got to get there. And I was like, I'm just getting done. I'm just going. I'm just moving. I didn't want to stop. We just kept on going. We got, and then we finally got to the finish line. Like I said, we found this place. We got a little bit lost in Carlton, Le Moreland, trying to find the village hall, but we eventually got there. And race were over and done with. Absolutely amazing. Fantastic. Well done. Didn't quite figure it all out, if I'm honest. And we get there, and we're trying to get sort of we found out, big news, first team to finish. Yeah, first 3-man team to finish. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Third overall. There was only 2 of us finished for us, a 2-man team and a solo runner. We were the first 3-person team to finish out of, I think it was 14 3-man teams. So anyway, we finished anyway, but absolutely brilliant. A lot of people had dropped out, and the organisers were asking us for feedback. Now, I gave my feedback on the day, and it's what I'm going to say now. That's what I'm actually going to say now to you guys or listening to this. The concept of the race is absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant, trying to solve clues, but they've got to make the clues and the routes a little bit better. First of all, let's not go point to point. Let's do a linear route. Let's go, not a linear route, so let's go a circular route. Let's go a bit of a circular route. People can go one way, people can go other way. If you decide to go left, you can go one way and you can open up the clues the other way. If you go right, you can go right and go open the clues that way. Whichever way you're going, you can open clues. Cards love it, scratching off things, open up every 4 miles. Distance-wise, from us opening the one at Sherwood Pines to the finish line was, and the one before that, I think it was about 15 miles before that. And then this last one was 25 miles. So it was like, it just felt like through the night, we were neglected, if that makes sense. So I said, you've got to keep it fun. Make it 12 hours, make it 50 miles maximum. Yeah. Or 40 miles maximum. You can do 20, you can even do a marathon distance and keep people involved. Every 4 miles, open an envelope, takes you to choose a different route, and have 5 or 6 different routes. I think that would work much better. This is a great event. If they do bring it down again to a 50 miler, I'm probably going to do it. And with turn so I thought it was absolutely, the concept's brilliant. Opening up, even though I didn't know what was going off and the clues were a little bit hard, I liked the cipher part. I like the riddle part. I liked opening. Have you figured the riddle out yet? I bet you want me to tell you, don't you? I'm going to leave it on ice and not tell you. I loved all of that part. I didn't quite get the old spy espionage thing and everything that was going off. Bit too more in depth. I guess it was more like one of these escape room things. Not really for me, if I'm honest. I love escape rooms. But when you're running and concentrating on something, it's too much. Make it a bit of fun. I like the escape room thing, but make it more fun. Make it the deciphering of things. You've got to pick something up. I love the idea of the rock. Oh, by the way, the rock, by the way, that we got, when we finished, they actually laser engrave it. They laser engrave it with the Secret Race and their sign. So Secret Race, their sign, finisher, absolutely fantastic. Which was great. What have you got? A guy brought a bag of sugar. They lasered the bag of sugar. They lasered the bag of sugar, which was absolutely amazing. And so the laser, everything, whatever you bring back, that is what they do. And that's your medal. That is your medal. A great concept, guys. Check them out. Rasselbock running. Yeah. I hope you listen to this. I hope you enjoyed watching it as well and seeing the clues as we got them. On the video, if you watch the video, I've put the route on, so you can actually see the whole route that we took and everything else. So stop on if you're watching the video. In the meantime, guys, thank you for watching or listening. You stay safe. You keep running, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.